Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair. Okay, the ending is going to upset people. There was a lot of dodgy endings going on in this show, which would have annoyed people to a certain extent, particularly when it mattered most. Becky Lynch defends the Smackdown Womens Championship against Bianca Belair and does a fucking great job of it. I thought she was awesome. I thought this fucking match was fantastic. I think, from a pure wrestling standpoint, easily match of the night for me. I think Becky Lynch looked out of this world, so much better, and you know me, I'm not a big fan of Becky Lynch. There's no denying her star power, but I think her matches are very boring, very formulaic, without being entertaining. And this was not the case. She brought a lot of new moves to the party. She was able to evolve. I loved her interactions with Michael Cole. I loved the fact that she heard Michael Cole shouting on a commentary thing and actually fucking pulled him up on it in front of him. And then, you know, I love Pat McAfee. He had so much value to that color position on SmackDown. He's another reason why SmackDown is streets ahead of Raw, is because, you know, they have the people that just work better in that scenario. I don't like three-man booze either. I don't like Michael Cole. I think he's garbage, but you're just so used to him now, you just kind of accept it for what it is. This match was so well put together, it was so physical, it was brilliant. And normally when you have a schmoz ending and a no DQ, a no contestu, so to speak, you kind of feel like, oh, I've been shortchanged. But I didn't feel that way with this because Sasha Banks came back as I suggested she might in the prediction show. Called it! Sorry, had to do it. I thought this was great. I thought this match was brilliant, and I think it makes sense to bring Sasha Banks back, especially right before the draft. Her coming out, beating the shit out of Bianca Belair and thinking, oh, you know, oh, she's gone full heel. She's taken out on Bianca Belair because Bianca Belair, you know, beat her at WrestleMania and she's overtaken her as the premium blueprint superstar of women's wrestling on SmackDown. And then she's like, fuck you, Becky Lynch. You know, I like the little moment because Becky's like, oh yeah, we're cool, right? We're cool. Oh yeah, of course we're cool. Wham! Sit down, bitch. Fucking great. Fucking great. These felt like big stars. By the way, this match, better than anything I've seen in terms of women's wrestling on the other major show. And that's not me saying, oh, fuck AEW. It's just a fact of, this is what AEW should be looking at and thinking, we could do stuff like that. We've got women who are capable of that. But they don't seem to want to do that. They're so obsessed with, you know, it's great that Britt Baker's getting a push, but at the expense of pretty much everybody else. Just like Hikaru Shida, who was having great matches, but nobody cared because, well, with all due respect, she had the personality of a walnut. Seems like a lovely girl, but being a lovely person doesn't necessarily mean that you're deserving of being a megastar. I know loads of people who are lovely people. It doesn't mean they should be making more money than everybody else. But I thought this match was great. I think Sasha Banks coming back bolsters SmackDown even more. SmackDown is super loaded with talent. Just don't fuck it up in the draft by sending all the wrong people the wrong way. Oh, I dread to think what they could do here. They could really fuck this up if they're not careful. Personally, I don't think they need a draft. I think they should just get rid of the whole fucking idea of crossovers. I think they've already upset enough people by releasing talent. Why not just release a shitload more of people? There's loads of guys there. Guys like Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I'm sorry to say, if they were going to be megastars, they would have been megastars by now. They are great ring hands, but they're not going to add much value to anything anymore. Like, you know, if Dolph Ziggler turned up on AEW, I'd be like, okay, that's cool for a little bit, but I'm not so invested that I'm going to chase after him and watch AEW just because of that. Especially if I'm a neutral fan. So, you know, there's loads of guys there who could be turfed out or just on, you know, Boogs, who fucking cares? You know, there's a lot of guys like that. You know, the Bo Dallases of the world. I'm not saying Bo Dallas, obviously, himself, because I know he's been released, but guys of that kind of candid nature who are good workers, good ring hands, but that's all they are. Turf them out. Don't bother with a fucking brand split. Just have high-quality wrestling on both shows. Just like you used to back in the Attitude Era. That worked. It absolutely worked, and it can work again. Instead of being ridiculously convoluted. And people can still tune into an NXT and see something different and something unique that isn't like the other main roster, even though they're desperately trying to make it look more and more like Raw every week. That's fair enough. But yeah, SmackDown looking good. Women's division looking absolutely stellar. Be interesting to see how it looks after they do the drafts. Because obviously they're doing it on SmackDown, they're doing it on Raw. But Becky Lynch, of course, retains. with shenanigans. But to her credit, I thought she was great. I actually think this is one of the best Becky Lynch matches I've ever seen. I thought she was fucking fantastic. Really, really liked her in this match. And Bianca Belair is just an absolute megastar. She's awesome, that girl. And the fact that she didn't look... I like this. I know people are going to use the main event as an argument for protecting talent, but I felt like they actually did protect the talent well here, because Becky Lynch can't lose. Obviously, she's just come back and she's your biggest draw in terms of women. Bianca Belair, if she'd lost, would have felt like a bit of a bitch, especially after losing at SummerSlam the way she did. And Sasha Banks coming in kind of helps negate all of that. I think it worked well. I'm not a huge fan of no contests, but this is a middling pay-per-view as well. Let's not act like Extreme Rules is a big deal. It's not. It's just a B pay-per-view, albeit a very, very good one. I thought this pay-per-view was actually a lot of fun, and this match was very much the cherry on top of it for me.